Ready? The Common Council of the City of Glendale is now in session. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation. Ask the Deputy Clerk to please call the roll.
Alder Vukovich.
She's at an event right now with the sheriff. She's on one of the sheriff's task forces, so she has to be excused for part of the meeting. She's going to.
Alder Doherty. Alder Gailhard.
Here.
Alder Bailey.
Here.
Alder Schmelzing.
Here.
Alder Shaw. We have a quorum.
Right. Can we get a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. I've jumped ahead. Sorry. I'm gonna have you just withdraw that for a moment. But I didn't. Now I have the agenda in front of me. I was trying to go from memory. Public comment. Glendale residents, business owners, and property owners are invited to speak to the council on items that are not on tonight's agenda but are within the city's ability to regulate or control. Is there anyone wishing to speak to a non-agenda item? Okay, there's nobody in the council chambers. Is there anybody joining us on the Zoom that would like to speak to the mayor and council during public comment on a non-agenda item? All right, seeing none, we'll move on then. The consent agenda, which includes the minutes of our last meeting, approval of accounts payable, and a final payment on the 2025 Glendale Drainage Way Clearing Project. Can I get a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Gelhardt. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bailey. Any discussion? Okay, we will consider the consent agenda adopted by unanimous consent without objection. Hearing no objection, we will move on. New business items. First new business item is the approval of an application for a Class B, the quotes around the B, beer retailer license for the Euro Palace at 5336 North Port Washington Road. I believe this was at L&J just a few minutes ago. Mr. Warwick, do you want to report back what happened with L&J?
Yeah, the L&J reviewed the application for a beer license for the Euro Palace, which has been in existence in Glendale at 5336 North Port Washington Road for some time, and they recommended the license be issued unanimously.
The next one, we can just take these two together. The next one is also the same class with the quotes around the B. This one was for La Cocina del Sur, an empanada bar at 6969. Was that also approved the same?
Yeah, this is a beer and liquor license. So it's beer and liquor for the second one.
Okay, but both of them went to L&J and both came with unanimous approvals.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Alderwoman Shaw?
Brought both of them up. They're both, one says beer and one says beer and liquor, but yet the quote marks are just around the B as opposed to being around Class B. Because normally I thought Class B for that and then just the B by itself were two different licenses.
The city attorney to weigh in.
Sure. So I don't know why the Wisconsin has designated the two different licenses both with B, but technically you're correct. One with just the B in the quotes is what we generally refer to as the beer license or the fermented malt beverage license. The quote unquote Class B with Class and B both in the quotes is the intoxicating liquor license. The first one you have just to serve beer, and the second one is the one that you need to serve either wine and or mixed drinks. So then there's a Class C, which is wine only. The city can issue as many Class B beer licenses as it wants. There's no restriction on that. The Class B intoxicating liquor license is limited by population, and then every time we increase by 500, we get one more of those. So if you're a bar and you want to have hard liquor, you got to have both, but you can just have a place where you can only serve beer, and it's perfectly fine to come in and say, we just want the beer license. So If you're a bar that you're going to have mixed drinks, you got to have both. But again, you can just get the one if you just want to serve beer.
Question,
Yeah,
though, I
and the-
believe was, are the quotes in the right place on the agenda?
Well, technically, I don't think it matters because in the parentheses, it says beer and liquor. So, and that's just sort of generally referring to Class B. So in my opinion, it's correct because anybody that would read the agenda would know that the first one is just for the beer license, and then it says beer and liquor, and both of those technically are Class B. The quotation mark, I guess in the technical sense, you could say and in parentheses, Class B with the Class B in parentheses, but I think it accurately conveys that there's 2 liquor licenses being considered under sub B and just one under sub A. So I think it's okay.
Warwick, did you want to?
Yeah, I just wanted to add the same thing. If you look at the agenda, the first one under A says beer and the second one says beer and liquor. We did that on purpose just to be ultra clear on which ones were being issued to which.
Alderman Shaw, does that satisfy you?
Yes and no, I'm just going by the history of the city that has always had issues with Class B and B. And I can also be, see what Rob says, just to give you a hard time because.
Well, he's not on the
And-
call tonight.
And I realize that, and I'm looking at it because as somebody who is not educated on that, hence the reason I brought up what we're showing the public, even though it does say beer and liquor in the parentheses, it's really incorrect. That was what we've been portraying to the cities for, let them know exactly what's going on. But since the attorney thinks it's okay, we're fine.
I am looking at the application that's in our packets, and they do have checked off the Class B with the quotes on the outside one. So they are applying for the correct one. So if we're approving what the application is, it's in our packet, then
I
we'll fix it.
understand that.
Okay.
But because of what we're showing the public,
Right.
I wanted
right.
to make sure the public is aware that it was incorrectly noted.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. All right, so we have the 2 recommendations from the Legislative and Judiciary Committee to approve both of the liquor licenses. Can I get a motion to adopt the recommendation from the committee that was sent forward to the council?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Gelhardt. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Both of those licenses are approved. All right, we'll now move on. The next is an authorization to execute a professional services agreement with TADDY for a speed limit traffic study for Green Bay Avenue from Silver Spring to Good Hope. I'll turn it over to Mr. Warwick.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. So there's been some discussions regarding the speed limit on Green Bay Avenue, particularly at the area where it switches from 35 to 40 miles an hour right around Brantwood. We are asking the council if they would like to study the speed limit on Green Bay from Silver Spring to Good Hope to determine what the appropriate speed limit should be. State law requires that a speed limit study be enacted to determine what the speed limit for an area would be. So TADDY would be hired for the cost not to exceed $34,5496 to do a speed limit traffic study on Green Bay Avenue from Silver Spring to Good Hope.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for staff? All right, can we get a motion?
One thing.
Well, let's go ahead and do a motion in a second, then I'll turn it over to you. Can we get a motion then to approve the agreement with TADDY?
Moved.
Moved by Schmelzling. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bailey. Go ahead, Alderman.
Just one thing I wanted to call out as we're looking at this. I don't see anything in here about like pedestrian tracking in the contract. It's just vehicles. I know that there are 2 high schools. They're lower population high schools, still populations right on the corner of Green Tree and Green Bay. I didn't know if that was something that I collected some details from the schools, if that was sufficient, or if we wanted TADDY to do something more exhaustive for
So-
pedestrians.
So Mr. Amir is in the audience, and we did a little research on the school speed limit of who determines where a school speed limit goes, because you'd think it's automatic. If there's a school, should it be 15 miles an hour or whatever the state statute says for speed limits? And from our reading today, it looks like it should be automatic and it should have been posted as a school speed zone from the beginning, at least from our interpretation of the state statute. Don't fully quote us on this. We'll do a little more research, but it looks like from our look at it today is I would recommend let's wait until we post a new speed limit and then we'll put the school speed zone signs up there. But it looks like if you have a school that is operational for more than 6 months out of the year, it's required to be posted as a school speed limit. Would you confirm that?
Yes. The school zone signs, the black and yellow sort of triangle on top, appears that state law says that if you have one, as Carl just indicated, operational more than 6 months a year, you post those.
Yeah, it would be like I also, I know we've had some side conversations, but I also recognize that a 15-mile-per-hour limit on Green Bay Road would be interesting to see enforced and also maintained, but yeah, just curious, would Hattie come up with like what would be a recommended school speed limit as well, or would it just be speed limit in general? I'm just trying to understand what the outcome would be.
So I don't know that you can make an exception, Nathan. We just looked at it, I know real quick, but does it have to be 15?
Well, it says, I think the answer is no, because it also says that it should be 15 miles an hour unless different limits are indicated by official traffic signs. And I know just from talking to other municipal attorneys, and this has come up in the past, like Madison has areas where they designate it as 20 instead of 15 based upon what the speed limit was of the road that it's on. So they didn't go all the way down to 15. So they posted it, a different limit is indicated by official sign. So generally 15 is generally the default. But if you've got a 50 mile an hour, you got a 40 mile an hour area, and you're not reasonably going to pull it down to 15, and you want to post it at 20 or 25, it appeared to me that at least well, hasn't been challenged. So I think that's the language they're picking up on, or otherwise posted. So.
I think the value from my perspective is more the awareness that there could be children in the school. And so I think the signage itself is probably the main benefit, and potentially a lower speed if there are students. But anyways, I'm just want to say I'm supportive of this effort. I think we did have that tragic accident for the bicyclist. I think it's valid to look and see what we could do to either make it consistent or whatever the case the recommendation would be. I did collect details from the Torah Academy and Hillel High on how many students they have. Also, just to call out, I know ASKT's contacted me, the synagogue, and they've had some issues with the curve there and visibility turning out of their driveway. They actually asked me to put up a mirror in the median. I was like, let's first cut back your brush. Let's first take those trees back. Also, I know just with the Silver Spring House, the sidewalk ends there currently, and there's a lot of people that just cross the road where there's not a crosswalk. And finally, just the other thought I had on this is when they do resurface 57, I know there's been some talk about potentially putting a crosswalk where the road entrances to Clutch Park. So, there's definitely potential pedestrian crossings there as well. So thank you. That's all I had to say.
Thank you. Any comments? Yes, Alderwoman Shaw.
I'm hoping that the city administrator can tell me from the agreement that's enclosed in the packet, attachment A. For as long as I've been in the city of Glendale, I do not know where Bernard Street is. It's on the attachment. It's street comes
right
Green Bay,
not
that's
north of
Street.
Edward.
Pardon?
It's the street north of Edward.
There is a Bernard. 'Cause I
Absolutely.
looked. Right, I had no clue where it was because I looked and went to the map to find one.
It's 4 houses north of Edward on
Thank-
the west side.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
You're
that
welcome.
because again, when I was a while back trying to find everything.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Can we get all in favor of approving the agreement with Taddy, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? Motion carries. Next item is also a professional services agreement. This is for the engineering design for the 2026 water main replacement program with Clark Dietz. So I'll turn it back over to Carl.
Thank you. So this is the agreement with Clark Dietz not to exceed $215,500 for design engineering for the 2026 road resurfacing and water main replacement project. The streets that will have the water main replacement and the road resurfacing are listed there. Most of it is in the northern part of the River Edge neighborhood. If you've been up there, the streets are in pretty bad shape, and you can see from the analysis that Mr. Ramirez provided, the number of breaks and the conditions of the road. That doesn't mean other streets aren't warranted, but these ones are in pretty bad shape, and there is a decent amount of water main breaks up there to justify the cost of replacing the water mains.
Any questions for staff? All right, can we get a motion then to approve the agreement?
So moved.
Moved by Bailey, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Gelhard. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the agreement with Clark Dietz for $215,500 to design the water main replacement for next year, please say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries. And our final item of business is an authorization to execute an agreement with Globe Contractors for the 2025 catch basin cleaning and inspection services not to exceed $103,287.75.
I'll take this one. So the city submit or ask for RFPs and proposals for catch basin cleaning services. The city relies on partial contractors and partial city staff to do it. We have about 2,700 catch basins throughout the city. This contract will clean about 1,100 storm sewer structures and approximately 400 catch basins across the city. As you can see, we went out for proposals. Globe was the lowest at approximately 103,000, with the other two $190,000 and $198,000. This comes from the proprietary budget, which is a total maintenance budget of about $300,000. So the lower we spend on this, the either we spend less on the budget or there's more room for maintenance if necessary.
I may, those of us who've been around know that Globe has historically done this work in the person of Steve DeWalk and his staff in our efforts to formalize our spending. We put it out there for others to provide prices, and this time around, we are able to monitor their progress and ensure proper delivery of services. And yet, they're still the lowest, so that's comforting.
All right, thank you. Okay, can we get a motion then to approve the agreement with Globe?
Moved.
Moved by Schmelzing, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bailey. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay, that concludes all of our business, except that we have commission, committee, board, and staff reports, and then we have a motion to go into closed session to discuss a personnel-related issue. So I'll go ahead and start. I've got a handful of things. The 2020, the MMSD meeting this morning, the audit was presented by Baker Tilly, and I'm sure, as you all would expect, MMSD has like the best audits and best financial stuff. So if you're ever curious of what a perfect audit looks like, that's it right there. You're welcome to take a look at it. Also, the 2024 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report from MMSD is here. I don't know if you guys know this, but the finances at MMSD are so meticulously maintained that for 46 years in a row, the International Accrediting Agency has given MMSD an award for their Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. This one was just submitted for year 47. A couple weeks ago, there was an event at Jones Island. Jones Island is now 100 years old. And as of next year, Milorganite will be 100 years old. So yeah, we had a problem 100 years ago and with rivers that were polluted and public health issues, and they decided to set up what at the time was the largest and best designed water reclamation facility in the world. It won awards, still continues to win awards now. And we were also the first region to take the biosolids and turn it into fertilizer. So that joke of you can dry that out and fertilize your lawn, we've been doing that for almost 100 years here in Milwaukee. So there's a great picture book that was put out, like a coffee table book about the history of Jones Island, if anybody wants to see it. City, that's a copy. This one is mine. The city has a copy already, and that's already on display out in the front entryway. Two other things. I had someone reach out to me with, and Chief, I'm just going to bring this up now. I want to make it a public. There have been issues of people not recognizing crosswalks, particularly along the Oak Leaf Trail at Good Hope and at Mill Road. And somebody actually took the time to write me a note and mail it to me saying that that it's getting really dangerous. So I'm wondering if we might, I don't know what we can do in terms of patrols. And Carl, I don't know if there's anything we might do in terms of maybe putting in like the flashing light signs or something, just because people are not. I mean, I know I've had a few dangerous run-ins there too. But yeah, people don't necessarily stop at Mill Road. And you'd think they would have to at least slow down because you're coming across railroad tracks, but apparently they launch over the railroad tracks and just keep flying. So if we can take that into account because it was raised, and so I wanted to bring it up in a public meeting. And then the last thing, with our clerk being out for a number of weeks, tomorrow is actually the deadline to file campaign finance reports. So this year, 1, 3, and 5 were up for election. You were reelected. If you didn't spend any money and you filed the exemptions at the beginning of the year, you're good for a year. You don't have to do anything till next year. But for 2, 4, and 6 and the mayor, we were not up this year. There is a form that Megan has sent us in the past. It's a little simple thing for exemption. We need to fill that out and send it to Abby so that Abby can get it on file. So I will find that and get it to everybody this evening, but tomorrow is the deadline for that. I know Tamika did raise money because she had an opponent, so I know she's filing a finance report. So but I talked with her about it earlier today, but I called ethics today to ask them what we should be doing. There was a law passed almost 2 years ago that said that as of June 30th of this year, all local campaign accounts had to become under the purview of the Wisconsin Ethics Commission. So we would have all had to go online and set up accounts. Even if you're not running again, if you never raised any money, you'd still have to set up a campaign account with the Wisconsin Ethics Commission. And just last month, there was a bill passed in the legislature and signed by the governor that extended that for 2 years. So now it will go into effect December 31st of 2027. I won't be mayor at that point, so I won't have to do this. But any of you who are still around, you will have to, at that point, create an ethics commission account for your official campaign name. Even if you never spend any money, every year you'd have to go in and just re-up that exemption with the state. But there's a form. I will find it. I was just sitting here looking for it, and I can't find it on my iPad, but I will find it and get it sent out to everybody this evening. But that's 2, 4, 6, and the mayor. The others of you, 1, 3, 5, already had to either claim exemption or list your whole campaign registration stuff. So that it concludes my report. And
Thank
I'll
you.
now go to, yes, go ahead. Oh, yeah, you're welcome. Yep. City Administrator.
I have 2 quick announcements. The first one I'll make is last week we had about a 30-hour repair on a water main break down on Port and Hampton that shut down water service for about 30 hours to 4 businesses, including the Holiday Inn Hotel. We had crews that worked overnight throughout the night to get that repaired. A lot of the people on site said that's the biggest stretch of water main they have seen break ever. It was about a 15-foot break. There was a large fire that had to be put out on the interstate. So the tapping of a massive amount of water in a short period of time looked like what most likely caused such a large break. We've been talking about putting more valves in down there because if you have a break, it shuts it down for the 4 businesses. So the more valves we can put in, the more likely we are to keep the Holiday Inn and our hotels and the Children's Hospital open, which are 2 vital, important businesses that were shut down for 30 hours. So it's about $20,000 a valve. We think it's going to be worth it, and we'll probably move forward with it. But I just wanted to commend all the Public Works and the folks from Globe that were out there for over 30 hours to repair a water main. And we had a full hotel there and everywhere else because of Harley Fest. And Becca from the chamber went out and got a bunch of gift cards for people to eat at local restaurants. So then when they returned, the water was on. And luckily, we stuck to our timeline of being able to have the water returned on by about 6 o'clock when people returned. So there's a big thing that happened. I talked to the mayor and Alderwoman Vukovic, who's in that district for most of the day, and Becca to try to get that squared away. So thanks to everybody that was able to keep people here in Glendale in our hotels. The other thing I have is on the screen, you'll see the city last week also launched our new website. It's more of a horizontal approach to the website with the buttons here. Abby, I will commend her. She's done a lot of reorganization to the website to try to make it 1 and 2 clicks to get to things rather than 3 or 4. And if you see something that you would like reorganized, change, let us know. We're here to try to help, but we've tried to put most of the information here. One example I will just give real quick that Abby did a fantastic job on is the court website. This used to be a very deep website page that you had to read significant amount of words on it to know exactly where you wanted to go. Now there's 6 buttons on here that will send you to any place that you need to go if you want to make a payment or do whatever. So we are trying to work on other pages like this to make it easier to read up front. So if you have any suggestions while we do this reorganization, please let us know. But thank you, Abby, for doing all this work.
Thanks, Abby. When Carl sent the link out to all of us, the first thing I did was pull it up on my phone, and the mobile interface also looks really good. Yeah, it looks really good. Thank you. City Attorney.
Thank you. Nothing.
All right. Deputy Clerk, anything to report? All right. Chief?
I had emailed everybody on the council about 11 days ago. We were involved in a fatal OIS, officer-involved shooting. Well, I can't speak of the details of the case. I can tell you I was very proud of the way our officers handled themselves during an incident, and they are all doing well.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Right, 1 and 2 are not here. Alderman Gelhard?
Nothing this evening.
Alderman Bailey?
Nothing this evening.
Alderman Schmelzing?
I'm not the chair of the committee any longer, but I do want to give a shout out to the DPW, our assistant city administrator as well, our city administrator, other people who volunteered at the 4th of July. Having been involved with it the last couple of years, I know my colleague here also has been involved many years. It does not go without a lot of work to plan and get it all taken care of. So Scouts had record corn sales, so it was busy, and we had a great event as well. Had a lot of good feedback, and also some negative feedback about the fireworks, which to some people would be good feedback. So I'll just leave it at that. And so wanted to thank staff for all that they did to pull that off again.
Want to complain about the fireworks? We can always switch to a drone show.
Yeah, I got feedback on that too. They said that they were happy they came to Glendale for the fireworks after the drone show. So I since we are recording, I do understand that dogs also don't necessarily like fireworks as much, but
as well as veterans with PTSD
and veterans PTSD.
Yeah.
There's birds. There's a lot of implications, but at the same time, once a year, I enjoy them myself.
Yeah. And Alderwoman Shaw. No report? All right. So we are noticed to go into a closed session to discuss with our attorney and a personnel-related issue. So when we exit from closed session, it will only be to have a motion to adjourn the meeting. There will be no business conducted when we reconvene in open session. So can I get a motion to convene in closed session subject to the conditions laid out on the agenda? Moved by Gelhard. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Bailey. All those in favor of convening in closed session, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are now in closed session. Okay, Abby, can you pause the recording, please? Recording. Then move that person back in. All right, we have now reconvened in open session. The motion was made by Alderman Gelhard, seconded by Alderman Bailey, and the vote was unanimous to reconvene in open session. While we were in closed session, we discussed a personnel matter regarding a public employee of the city. There is no action to be taken by the city council at this time, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Gelhard,
Second.
seconded by Schmelzling. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We stand adjourned at 7:12, and just for purposes of the recording, we reconvened in open session at 7:11. Okay, you can now stop the recording.